A secret place, Inosuke? You instantly became captive to your own curiosity. What's secret about it? You'll see when you get there. And with that, he proceeded to grab you by the nearest limb and took off running. If you hadn't braced yourself, he surely would have had just yanked your arm out of its socket. Wait, I need to put my shoes. I'll carry you. Huh? You yelled when he suddenly swung you over his shoulder. You had no choice but to hang there helplessly as his movement bounced you along. Finchan! You looked up when the blonde called out to you, and you noticed he and Tanjiro standing there looking perplexed. You smiled as they reflected and waved. Inosuke always had a way of throwing them for the loop. But you knew you were safe in his hands. The rash man wasn't the most sense in his manner, but you knew deep down he had no tolerance for injustice. He never let harm come to you. Don't follow us, Inosuke shouted back to the others as he rounded the corner and disappeared from sight. What are we gonna do, Tanjiro? Zenitsu shrieked out, yanking on his checkered hori. He's kidnapper! She didn't seem worried, Zenitsu, so there's no reason to be nervous. Besides, Inosuke asked us not to follow them, so I'm sure it's fine. That's what a demon would say, he insisted, and Tanjiro flinched from his infidelity. Not that it would have been noticeable since the motive was overtaken by Zenitsu violently shaking him. Who knows what could happen to her in those woods? What if he leaves her there and she gets lost? Tanjiro's expression softened. I mean, I wouldn't feel right about invading their privacy. Invade it! But if you really think Finn is danger, he curled his finger to his lips. I'd hate to not trust your instincts and regret it later on. Yeah, no time to lose. The blonde dramatically picked up his foot, ready to sprint towards the estate gate. Wait! Tanjiro placed a hand on his shoulder, causing his posture to slump. If things are fine, we leave immediately. Agreed? Fine. Zenitsu pursed his lips brutally. I guess I can live with that. In all honesty, he didn't want to leave you alone with another guy. Ever. Let alone with someone so uncouth as Inosuke. But based on Tanjiro's current stern aura, he knew he wasn't going to receive a better offer. So the two set off, Zenitsu taking the lead. After a quick descent hike deep into the woods, Tanjiro was glad he made the decision to come along. He didn't doubt your capabilities, but surely it would have been difficult to find the way back before dark, even for the most skilled of woodsmen. The breeze had shifted a few times, and Tanjiro was getting your scent from 2 or 3 directions now. But despite this, the young man noticed his companion's path did not waver. How do you know which direction they went, Zenitsu? Can you really still hear Inosuke running from this far away? Nope. Then you memorized their path from the noise and the retractions, their footsteps, the best you can? That would be difficult even for me. So, what's guiding you in this direction? He made a face at the blonde, baffled at why he was so confidently zigzagging up the mountain. It's the power of love, Tanjiro. The water swordsman rolled his eyes. He realized that not only had he left Inosuke to his own desires and devices, but also possibly allowed himself to get lost. Tanjiro didn't harbor any distrust for Inosuke prior, but immediately he did not worry you might come back with a fair share of scrapes and bruises. Inosuke didn't have a cleaver's bone in his body, nor did he subscribe to the standard ritual of courting a delicate young lady. I hear water, Zenitsu mumbled to himself, then took a sharp turn towards the sound. A few meters further, and Tanjiro caught the scent again. You're right, Zenitsu. They did go this way. He beamed at his friend, smile a tiny bit crooked from the guilt he felt for doubting him. Quickly they spunked upon the clearing, noticing a graceful waterfall glistening in the sunlight. A round pond sat at the base, though it was hard to tell how deep it was from their distance away. Zenitsu pouted. This kind of romantic place he would have wanted to take you, though the brush he and Tanjiro spotted the two of you walked by the water's edge, and suddenly, sploosh! The pair's mouths fell open in horror. Inosuke had outright pushed you into the water unprovoked. It was exactly as Tanjiro had feared, and he couldn't hold back the look on his face that screamed, I don't regret having you giving you a concussion. He's dead! I'll kill him, Tanjiro. The docile teen had to hold his compensator back from the alteration. How dare he do that to a lady? Their ungrateful tussle resulted in Zenitsu stepping back onto a fallen branch, cracking it loudly underneath his foot. From the water you emerged, taking a sharp breath of surprise. Fortunately, the water was refreshing cool rather than icy cold pitch on the skin. Except you stared up at the culprit. You couldn't see his face below the mask, but you somehow knew he was grinning it from ear to ear. His chin was lifted with pride, and all you could do was laugh. The wrestling behind the trees fell silent when Zenitsu and Tanjiro froze in place. Wait, she's laughing? Tanjiro finished his sentence blankly in disbelief at the scene before him. His posture sank slightly, but he donned an accepting smile nonetheless. Come on, Zenitsu, he said softly, placing a gentle guiding hand on his back. With heavy feet, the two turned from the clearing, ready to make the trip back down the mountain. Sploosh! You shielded your face with your hands as Inosuke splashed cascaded in the fountain around you. The handsome teen sprouted to the surface at neck height, and you smiled, knowing that to a stranger in the distance it would probably appear that you were swimming with a wild pig. But then, that's exactly what you were doing, wasn't it? Inosuke, you should take your mask off. You chuckled. It'll get smelly if you get it wet like that. I can handle it, he grunted in response. Water dripped from the snout of the boar's head. No girl's gonna want to kiss you if you do that, you smirked playfully. Matched to your surprise, he removed it and tossed it carelessly onto the bank. Why would I care about something stupid like that? He snapped almost defensively. You made a face at him and shrugged. Who knows? You obviously and bandages wrapped around his head, staring to Shagger falter. Inosuke, you're... But before you could finish, the dark boy went underwater once more, this time swimming towards you. He popped just a few inches from your face. Hold still, he ordered, then submerged before you could... I don't know. Submerged before you could question why. Around one side, he passed you, and you almost relaxed out of anticipation, when suddenly his hands grabbed your... Oh my... cleavage. Like booty? Okay. From behind, and you were being lifted out of the water on his shoulders. You were instantly latched your arms around his head for support, then let go when you remembered his head injury. Still, he remained stabled, and with you... Stabled. With you... That doesn't make sense. He retained stability with you under him. Should be above him. Letting out a letting out a signature chuckle before letting go of your legs. Not only that, but he pressed upwards on your ankles instead, causing you to topple ass over noggins into the water once more. This time you emerged with a vengeance. Hey, that wasn't fair! What's fair got to do with it? I'm strong and that's that. He smirked and your lips curved to match it. Guess I'll have to put you in your place then. I'd like to see you try. With that challenge, you launched forward, locking your arms around his torso so you could dunk him. With impressive flexibility, he managed to squirm free, and then chase was on. You followed him around to and fro, then behind the waterfall. You were surprised. There was a shallow pool inside, complete with sizable cave and slippery flat rocks. This must have been a secret place he was talking about before. Unfortunately, the troublesome teen took advantage of your momentarily observation and awe to vanish below the water, dunking you once more. You ass, you asserted. This time, you made sure he wasn't getting away. All using a slab of stone under the water's edge to launch yourself onto him. The sheer force must have surprised him, for he stumbled forwards, your combined weights plunging him to the bottom. Now you were grinning to satisfaction, even when you tackled took under two. Once you rubbled the water from your eyes, you made a horrifying discovery. Inosuke! His bandage had completely come off, and a tiny tickle of blood was now artificially running down from the top of his head, finding a path between his eyes. Your heart suddenly ached with guilt. What? He blinked at you as if he felt nothing. You're bleeding! You sloshed through the water until the two were face to face. I'm sorry, Inosuke. I should have been more considerate of your injury. You delicately brushed your thumb against his forehead, frowning your eyebrows at the polished bruise that had already developed from earlier. Inosuke seemed content to just watch you. Finally, your eyes met and furrowed. It was my fault for being unladylike in the first place. So, who cares? Rules are just things that stupid people make up because they aren't brave enough to do their own way. You're not like that, Finn, and neither am I. In his own way, for a fleeting instant, Inosuke sounded wise beyond his years. He had a violent point, and one more thing caught your attention. You got my name right. With Inosuke, the first time might have been an accident. Twice had to be on purpose. His eyes darted away from yours, and he mumbled out an answer. But that's kind of important. You beamed brightly at him in satisfaction. Somehow that small gesture made you really special. Pink started to crawl up his cheeks before the young man let out an aggressive scream, actually startling some nearby birds to flight. Before ducking his head into the water with a loud splat, your mouth fell open. What's wrong, Inosuke? My face felt hot for a second. He poked his cheeks with his finger. Feels better now. You bit the inside of your cheek to hold back a laughter. The fact that Inosuke had never felt himself blush before was something short of adorable. Not to mention the lowering sun was casting an element gold and shimmering blue upon the water, making his jade eyes even harder to look away than usual. Wistful, you eyed the darkening tree line from behind the curtain of cascading water. We should probably head back soon and change your bandage. Replace would have been a better word, as it had totally gone missing at some point during your playful splashing about. You shimmied your way towards the bank, only to have strong hands pull you backwards. Wait. He turned to face you, but didn't let go. You mentioned kissing earlier. His brows were set in a line, like he was puzzling something. It was awkward having such a personal conversation while caged in his arms. Oh, yeah, what about it? It was hard to hide your fragile demeanor. Your eyes were glancing in all directions, avoiding the piercing stare inches from your face. Inosuke certainly didn't have any hang-ups about personal space. How does it work? Why do people do it? Well, it's how people show their love. He processed that for a moment before a reply came out swiftly. Show me. He stared at you matter-of-factly that his words almost didn't register at first. I what? It's as I thought. You didn't want to, but you had to admit you were really embarrassed by the bold way he asked you. I can't be the best at something if I don't know how it's done. He knit his eyebrows and pursed his lips, impatient that you didn't fulfill his request. Within approximately 3 seconds, you saw the opportunity. Well, that's a good start. You pointed to his puckered lips, feeling his cheeks burn. Like this. And before you can even grasp, his mouth was pressed against yours. Wet and surprisingly soft, but still holding Inosuke's signature forceful. He pulled back almost immediately and even had a bright blush to match yours. You averted his gaze shyly. Yeah, I think you got the hang of it. His unblinking stare didn't make you feel any less awkward. Are you supposed to close your eyes? I noticed that you did. If you want, do it again, he demanded, and you felt yourself getting lightheaded all over again. By hook or by crook, the boy was going to be the death of you. This time, he crackled your head in his hand. Instinct must have kicked in. He closed the distance, and the dance of lips lasted much longer. You wrapped your arms tighter around him, and he pulled you closer to him. Once he finally pulled back, you giggled from shyness. He smiled back. It was oddly calm, comforting, nearly out of character for him. Good, right? He asked with prideful. Sure, he had done well based on your action. Very good. You praised his performance. Fantastic, I'd say. After exiting the cave, he lifted you onto the bank by the waist, clambering after you. It was then you realized you had nothing to dry off with, and the wind was chilling fast as the sun descended. As if he read your mind, he crouched in front of you, facing. Get on, he ordered, and you grinned. Once you secured your arms around his neck, he took off, running back towards the wisteria house. It was actually quite a smart plan. The piggyback ride would dry you off as he went. You gave another kiss on his cheek, as the case of excess was far too great for you to resist. He let out an amused little humph. What? Patience all you want? You won't get better at it than me. Oh, yeah. We'll see about that. Maybe you can try to surpass me later. I definitely will. Greenery passed in resurrection waves, and you began to grow a bit sleepy. Tired but happy, you enjoyed the warmth feeling growing in your abdomen. Something special was blooming between you. A secret kiss in a secret place. No doubt, with Inosuke's big mouth, it wouldn't be a secret for long. But you didn't mind. But sadly, his little mask was left behind. Oh no!